say the guy can't either get his hard or he can't finish at the end, you're losing the whole scene. You're wasting his time, you're wasting the company's money. Kobe Bryant, like I always talk about the Mamba mentality. Sometimes we're shooting in Vegas, it's 100 degrees, and we're having like hardcore for 30 minutes straight. So it's like, I'm very similar to athlete where I'm like, I gotta take care of my body at all times.
So you brought the Mamba mentality to...
Yeah, yeah. I was in Vegas during the shooting, the mass shooting.
Fuck,
What?
were you?
Yeah, at that time I had a more or less an ego death. Who I was becoming is Damon Dice. Like that was an ego, that was something I was creating for myself. So I actually had to check myself. I was like, fuck, like you're losing Spencer, you're losing who you are.
Have you ever not been able to get the job done? Welcome back to the MVH podcast. Money buys happiness, guys. If you're not subscribed, you know what to do. Hit the subscribe button, like the video, leave a comment, say whatever. It's funny because I say whatever,
and then people
say actually comment just whatever.
Yeah,
it's amazing. It's fucking amazing.
Still works for the algo, to be honest.
Oh, it's great.
All right,
Ernesto,
we got a legend in the house, guys.
Come on, let's go.
Spence, what's going on?
What's going on?
How you doing?
Good to finally be here.
Yes,
dude.
Yes.
Listen, we needed to have you on. Everyone's having female porn stars.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The classic.
Yeah.
You know, but we got to get a perspective from a male. You know, and we had you over the other day, and you have a super interesting past.
I do.
I don't think people would expect that.
Yeah.
So let's talk about maybe before you got into porn, what you were doing.
So out of college, I created a nightlife app called iBar. Okay. Stream live video from bars, clubs, restaurants, music festivals, charity events. It's very prolific in North Carolina, my college town, cities around there, expanded out to DC. So I had this successful startup, and this was 2012. So this was like very early version apps. Cool. So this is like iPhone.
That's when apps were going nuts.
This is like, yeah. So I was one of the very, very, very first live streaming apps on the App Store. And at the time I had won some grant money from the university, some local grants. So I had some money, but I was burning through it fast. So I was getting to the point where I was like, fuck, I'm running out of money. I needed to fund my startup.
You were running that by yourself?
I was running it by myself. Yeah. So I wasn't doing the tech. I was outsourcing that. I was more so the marketing, kind of creating the concept, the brand. And I was running out of money. I was like, fuck, how can I make some money? And it just popped in my head because I'm working with webcams and cameras. I'm like, fuck, I could do something with this.
Yeah.
So me and one of my promo girls, we started webcamming together to help fund my startup.
Okay.
Yeah. So she enjoyed it. So she started doing like more amateur stuff. And the next thing you know, she does porn. Okay. So she's doing porn for a year. She becomes the best new starlet in all of porn. Damn. So like a girl that I'm webcamming with to like fund my startup, she becomes this porn star, and I'm like meeting all these porn stars that I be watching. I'm like, oh shit, it's Lex Texas, or like, you know. So I'm like in that world, meeting all these people, and then
early on. So
this was 10 years ago, and it just got to a point where like the startup went under, and I was like, fuck. I was like, I'm living in LA, like I don't know what I'm doing, and my friend's like, oh, you do porn? I'm like, I would never do porn. Okay. So that's
what you were saying.
I was against it. Yeah, I was like, no, I couldn't do that because I was like a successful business owner, not successful at the time, but like I was in the business world. So I was like that, like I couldn't do it. I've always been an exhibitionist. I love having sex in front of people, but
okay. Well, I was gonna ask, did you did you like it before?
I liked it. I enjoyed watching it, and I was like, fuck. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I jumped in and started doing porn.
And this was what, 10 years ago?
This was 10 years ago. Yeah.
But in terms of the webcamming, I'm curious, like what kind of money, it's probably different now from 2012. Yeah. Like what kind of money was involved in that?
It was actually decent money.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was pretty good. I was making like a couple thousand a week.
Jesus.
So originally you did that to fund the app?
Yeah, to keep the app going.
And then how long did it take?
Because I was paying developers over $100 an hour.
No, at that time they were hella expensive.
Yeah, hella expensive. Now you can outsource them to India for like $15 an hour.
How long after you start the webcam do you say screw the app?
It was a few months. And at the time I was at this tech incubator at Duke University. Okay. And I was living in Raleigh, North Carolina, and one of my roommates, who you guys know, is Anthony Pompliano.
Of course.
For those of you at home that don't know Pomp, he's a fucking wizard. He's a finance, a crypto guru. He's just a fucking genius. And I credit him to giving me a lot of my entrepreneurial drive. Okay. Like he's the first one that put me on to Gary Vee, and I started learning kind of that aspect of business and how to really, work with people. And Pomp was like my first motivator and taught me so many things living under the same roof as him. True. And then one day I was like, Pomp, I was like, I'm moving to LA. He's like, what the fuck? He's like, why are you moving to LA? I was like, I'm gonna go shoot porn. He's like, what the fuck? And like 2 months later, I was out moving to LA.
Because I feel like at that time it was just rare to hear that from someone. Today's easy.
It was random as shit. So it's funny because now myself and the girl that I'm like that I was working with, Carter Cruz, we both went to the same college, so they call it Porn Star U because we're two big porn stars that came out of the same college. We kind of have a similar upbringing.
So that's insane.
Paving the way.
So walk us through the beginning of your porn career. Like once you say, okay, I'm moving to LA, I don't want to get this started. How does one even go about doing that?
It's tough. I at least had some like Carter, so she kind of showed me the ropes. Okay. Introduced me to some porn stars, some producers. So I had like at least a warm introduction into the industry. But it's tough navigating, especially 10 years ago. There wasn't OnlyFans, there weren't all these clip sites to where like you could do that on your own independently and then go shoot professionally porn. So I had to really navigate it on my own. Like it was tough. Like I didn't start out shooting with the top porn stars in the world. I was like, oh, I'm gonna come in, like bang all these hot chicks. Like they start you out.
Tell us about it.
They humble you. I got humbled. So you start out the amateur girls, like, you know, maybe the bigger girls or some girls they bring in off the streets and
just to test them out.
Yeah. They just like, I mean, all these girls, just clarify, everyone's getting tested. So we get tested every 10 to 14 days. So everyone's good with that. It's not like we're literally bringing people off the streets on the bang bus. Like everyone's tested. We have to do consent forms, all this stuff. So it was tough because I was doing the amateur shoots at first, and I almost like my first few months in, I was like, "Fuck this! I'm gonna quit. Like this bullshit. I'm not." I came here to like fuck porn stars, but being a guy, you have to earn your stripes. You have to, know, build your way up because a lot of the time it's like, say they're doing a big production, there's thousands and thousands of dollars, and say the guy can't either get his dick hard or he can't finish at the end, you're losing the whole scene. So everyone just wasted their day. You're wasting everyone's time. You're wasting the company's money. So
that's pressure.
So the guys have to be sharp in order for the business to be successful.
And is there like a dick thing where they're like, all right, bro, if you're fucking less than fucking 10 inches, like don't even look at me type of thing? Like
no, it's there's guys all the way across the spectrum. I'd say from like, you know, this to
to dread.
There's some dread. There's some hogs out there. So
okay, so it's not like they're like, hey, okay, you want to join porn? Like drop your pants.
Yeah, you have to like have something there because like you can't be like because at the end of the day, the sex that we have on set is different than the sex you have at home. Like we have to be open to the cameras. So if you know you're doing it regular, you can't really do that because they can't see the penetration. So you have to have some length at least to like. You know, if you're doing dog, you just got a big butt. You got to be able to see what's going on there. So
gotta get inside.
There's a real science to it.
So at the beginning, are you trying to like get signed to an agency? Like, how does it work in terms of?
So I did join an agency out the gates, but they weren't really getting much for me because when I got in with that agency, they're repping all the top guys in the industry. So I was like number 15 on the list.
Okay.
So like I'm not going to credit my former agency for like where I got to. It was just through my relationships and me actually putting in the work and doing a good job on set. So I credit a lot of that to me being an athlete. I've been an athlete my whole life. I competed collegiately at East Carolina University. I threw javelin, All-American javelin thrower. So I've always been able to perform under pressure. Like that's why on a porn set when they say action,
you're ready.
I'm zoned in. I'm totally zoned in. And growing up, I watched the greats like Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant. Like I always talk about the Mamba mentality because once they say action, I'm like, it's only me and my partner there. I'm not seeing all the camera guys. I'm not noticing all the lights. It gets hot. You know, sometimes we're shooting in Vegas, it's 100 degrees, and we're having like hardcore sex for 30 minutes straight. So it's like, you got to be in that mindset. You can take all the Viagra in the world. It's not going to help you. Like if you're not there able to handle that cardio and that intense of a activity.
And do you have like a pre-game fucking ritual? Like,
I would say a ritual. I try to stay hydrated.
Okay.
I don't eat too much before because like you got a bunch of stuff. It's like you can't swim after.
It's like a game. It's like a sports game.
Yeah, it's same thing. I'm very similar to athlete where I'm like I got to take care of my body at all times. Like I don't want to be showing up to set hungover or like tired. You know, so good rest, staying hydrated is the biggest thing.
So you brought the Mamba mentality to porn.
Yeah.
Damn, that's good. Bro.
Yeah, I love Kobe Bryant. I was born in LA, like huge Lakers fan, love Kobe to death. So I've really embodied. You know, his game and like how he approaches his job with the mindset and just how he is as a person. Like he was such an impactful person to Los Angeles, and that's someone I strive to carry on his legacy as a fellow Los Angelino. So it's like that's like amazing. Big bro.
Yeah, hell
so
yeah.
I'm wearing Lakers. What
was the money like at the beginning when you're doing the
amateur
amateur stuff?
It was shit. I was getting
paid.
Was
it enough to survive? Like, did you have to do other shit?
Barely. I mean, I was getting paid for starting out like $300-$400 a scene.
And what one scene a week, one scene a day?
At starting out, I remember my first month I had like 2 scenes.
Wow.
And it was just like, that's when I told my agent, I was like, I don't think this is for me. Because I was living all the way down in Long Beach. I had to commute all the way up to the valley. I didn't have a car at the time. So I was taking the bus, or I was taking the train. The train was like an hour and a half. Had to get off a stop in downtown, then take a bus all the way across the valley. So one way for me was like 2.5 hours.
Damn.
And there was one time where I did that whole commute. I get to set and the girl was like, no call, no show. She didn't show up. So I was just like, and I was like broke at that time. I needed that $400.
Does that happen a lot? Did that happen a lot?
Not so much now.
Yeah.
I'd say like back then there was more flakes, but now with social media and everything, there's more accountability. Because like, hey, if you don't show up or you fuck some people over, you're gonna get called out.
True.
Publicly. So
how long were you doing the amateur stuff?
I'd say a few months until I shot my first like real porn star, and then that was like, wow, like I made it.
That was the turning point.
That was with Cherie DeVille. You guys know that?
Legend.
So Cherie DeVille was my first like porn star that I had sex with.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Lucky
and
fuck.
and it was actually on my birthday too.
Oh, happy
So,
birthday,
yeah,
bro.
so
Happy
that surprised me because like they knew I was like complaining about like I was like, what the fuck is this? Like
Yeah.
I'm doing porn. Like
Were you nervous the first time?
low key, because there's been a few girls like when I like first time I shot like in Alexis, Texas, or in Asa Akira, like low key on the inside, I'm like a fanboy. I'm like, oh my God, I've been watching your work for years, but I can't. I got to show that poker face. I got to play it cool.
Of course.
Because they're going to be like, who the fuck's this guy?
Yeah, this guy's all happy.
Yeah.
This guy's too happy.
Like, so I'll just like introduce myself. Like I've never met him before. Like, oh, hey, what's your name? Like pretend I don't even know him.
You know how many nuts I busted? I'm curious, when you were doing like the amateur stuff, like were you also working a second job?
At the time, no, I wasn't. That was it.
You were fucking all in.
Yeah, I was all in. Like I was trying to like do other business stuff in LA. Like I was thinking about getting a real. I didn't know what I wanted to do, so it was just like that was it at the time.
Well,
go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, because you're obviously like you're an entrepreneur. You have some other businesses that we can talk about. But were you ever nervous that it was going to like ruin your reputation, that you couldn't be seen as like a businessman while also just pounding broads? Like,
that's a good question. There was a point. I was actually, I talk about it. When the first like year and a half, I was a closeted porn star.
You didn't tell anyone.
I told like close friends.
Okay.
I like a lot of my peers out in LA didn't know yet, and I was just kind of like still in the business route. So like I was ashamed of it at first. Like I was like, this isn't my path. Like I don't know how my parents are gonna feel. Like I didn't know like what people were gonna think about it. Because again, I grew up on the East Coast. And then went to school down south. So I was in the South in North Carolina for 7 years. So like that's where my core group of friends were. And it's a Bible Belt. So it's like really more conservative. I was like, fuck, like I really cared what people thought. And then I got to a point where like I was on the big sites like Brazzers and my shit was out there and people were finding out. So it was like, all right,
can't hide no more.
Yeah. So I came out and I
but did it ever affect you business wise, like in a negative way? Did you ever find that?
At first, I'd say like people wouldn't take me serious because like, oh, you're just a porn star. Like who the fuck do you know? Because like I would probably think the same thing. Like I would think, oh, like guy porn stars are fucking like apes. Like they just fuck, you know. And that's what I thought. Like I was like, I see them like these guys are just fucking apes. They fuck all day. Like But I did have to cross that bridge. I did deal with that stigma for a little bit, but through the businesses that I've been a part of over the past few years and just really pushing it, and even the people in the industry seeing what I've done and what I continue to do, it's really solidified myself as a legitimate business person within the industry and other industries as well.
How was that conversation with your family?
Told my dad first. I was probably like a month in. I wasn't even planning on telling him. It was me, my dad, and my brother. I was back for like Christmas, and we're in the garage. We're all smoking a joint, and my brother's like, "Did you tell Dad about your new job?" I'm like, "Fuck!" Little bro just threw me under the bus. Like, thanks, Trev. So Dad like right away. He's like, what? He's like, he was just like, he wasn't disappointed. He was confused again because he knew what I was doing with the business side of things, and he was just like, you can do better than that. You know, you're smart. You know, you got good ideas behind you. It's like porn. Like he thought I was selling myself short. So I understand that. It's like whatever makes you happy.
Yeah.
So Mom I'm a mama's boy.
Same.
It took me a year and a half. Like that. Once I told my mom, it took me a year and a half telling mom.
Like after you told your dad?
Dad knew right away. My parents are split. Like
Okay.
So mom, I told a year and a half. So I told her on my birthday.
Just so like she couldn't get mad?
Yeah, not that first birthday, the next birthday.
I was gonna say
not the Cherie one. So I was actually on set in Phoenix shooting at Ariana Marie. Great, another great birthday gift. I was like, fuck. I was like, I gotta tell my mom. Like, I'm gonna tell her on my birthday. If I tell her my birthday, like she can't. It's my day. Like she can't like, get mad at me or upset with me. So she calls me. I'm on set, and she's singing "Happy Birthday" to me, and I'm just quiet on the other end of the line. She's like, baby, what's wrong? I'm still quiet. she's like, I was like, Mom, I have something to tell you. She's like, did you get a girl pregnant? And I'm like, no. She's like, well, I know you're not gay. You know, some people like they're coming out of the closet, that type thing. Yeah. She's like, I know you're not gay. She's like, what is it? I was like, Mom, I'm a porn star. She's like, what?
That's insane.
She's like, what? And her next words are you gonna be famous? I'm like, I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't even thinking about it at the time, but so like once I told my mom, I got that kind of stress off my shoulders, and then kind of the rest of the friends and people I know started finding.
So they weren't upset. No one was upset.
No one was upset about it. Yeah. I was thinking. I was in my own head about it. Yeah, I was overthinking it.
True.
I also think it's probably, if I could imagine, easier for like a guy.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, and I completely like. I don't have any kids, but I've got family and friends with daughters, and I'm like, fuck, like how. Oh my! It's just. I know like equal. Everyone's equal, but we're not. Like that's like the females.
Hell yeah, it'd be tough.
I couldn't imagine what some dads go through with their daughter telling them that. Like, dude. Me personally, I wouldn't. Like, I don't. I can't say. I have no right to say like, you can't do that.
Their daughters, bro. So,
but it'd be tough. I don't know how to answer that.
Was the fam asking for details? Like,
no, they're not tuning the details. They're not tuning the details. Like, I'll send my parents like the trailers. So they like the acting part of it, so like they like seeing that stuff. But once it gets down the nitty gritty,
So you start with Cherie DeVille, and then after that, the ball starts rolling.
Just started coming, literally.
Okay, so I guess that's the main turning point.
It's for, I'd say, my advancement in the industry. Even like I feel like it really took me 3 to 4 years to really find my stride and get that solidification as like one of the elite performers. Because again, it's still, there's so many like other guys ahead of you that have been in for 5, 10, 15, 20 plus years.
And were those dudes like open to like join the club, or was it kind of like a closed door thing where it's like?
So that's the thing. At first, they're not all gonna they're not gonna give you the flowers and be like, oh, like what's up, buddy? Like it's competitive.
Yeah.
Like there's only so many solid guys in the industry compared to girls. Like there's 50 girls for every one guy in the industry.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a little like standoffish. The guys aren't going to give you tips on. Sometimes they will. But when I first came in, there's only a couple guys that really like, help me out, show me the ropes, give me some advice. But like once you're in, we're all homies. It's like a little fraternity. So now we all share notes. Like, if there's a new performer none of us have worked with, we'll be like, how's she, or how's this company, how's their production? Like, so we're all really tight, and we really kind of share information, and because we all also understand how hard it is and like what it takes to do what we do. So like we get each other. So it's a cool group of guys. Like,
you said it's hard. What makes it hard? Because I mean, people watch and they're like, this guy just gets the fuck.
Yeah, I thought that too. Yeah. I thought that too. But some shoots you're on set for. I've been on set for 18 hours
straight.
Yeah. And then we didn't start the sex till like 2 a.m. So people are tired. Like you still have to get the job done, or that whole day is wasted.
What are you doing before?
Say what?
Like if you're there for 18 hours, you only start.
Because a lot a long shoot like that's a feature movie where it's like a full production. There's 20 crew members. There's scenes, like there's actually acting. So a lot of it is acting, and then the sex is at the end.
Do you like the acting part?
Yeah, at first, like even in, like when I was in high school, like I would make fun of the theater kids, like, oh, those fucking pussies. Yeah. And like I didn't take it seriously. I'm like, whatever, like. And even when I got in, I was like, I'm not gonna do all the acting. I'm just gonna fuck. Like I just thought that was the thing. And then like I learned, I was like, and I was in a couple movies where my acting was fucking terrible. My first few like acting roles, going back and looking at them, like, I was fucking terrible. And it took one director to finally tell me, like, your acting fucking sucks.
Your shit.
That I was like, oh shit, maybe I need to take it a little more seriously. So I started rewatching my films. I started watching some of the best actors in the industry, even like mainstream actors.
Yeah.
To get kind of cues and kind of how to, position yourself on camera. So there's definitely a learning curve with it. And now it's like I enjoy the acting because it's more than sex. Like the sex is easy now because I've done it so many times. So it's like the acting, got to put more practice into it. I got to study scripts. I got to practice them. It's a little more challenging, which I like.
Does it ever affect like your sex outside of work?
Yeah, it does.
You know what I mean? Like if all you're doing is fucking.
If you're fucking all day,
Exactly.
Sometimes like I want to just go home, smoke a joint and chill and not do anything. So it definitely, I mean, for me, which is good, I'm not as actively like, before I got into porn, I was like going on the weekends to try to meet chicks and like, oh, like I got to go meet chicks. But now in porn, it's like I'm being spoon fed.
True.
Yeah.
I say it's like I say we're like the lions at the zoo. Like we're in captivity and the lions, just getting fed steaks. Yeah. You put them out in the wild, they're like, what the fuck do we do? Like, how do I hunt for myself?
That's true.
So I like low key lost some game being in the business because it's like I'm just being fed steaks all day.
Were you trying to get into relationships at all while you were doing it?
I dated a couple girls over the years that were in the industry. It's tough either side. I've dated girls in the industry, girls that are out of the industry. Mm-hmm. There's pros and cons to both of them. I found in general just dating's tough. Yeah. It's because it's mostly a time thing. It's like if I'm on set all day and I get home, my girlfriend's like, "How was your day at work?" I'm like, "What do I like?" Was it?
So you dated someone outside of porn?
Not currently, but I'm saying theoretically.
But you did before.
Yes, I have. So I've dated outside and I've dated porn stars in porn. Yeah. And both, it's tough either way. I feel like, but there's successful relationships. There, people, but at the end of the day, I'm sharing my energy with other people. So it's like if there's someone I really love, like I feel like I'm giving a piece of that away. So it's tough because I'm a lover, like I'm a sweetheart. Yeah. But like it's really tough to balance that with life.
So now that you've
work.
dated kind of both sides, I guess, what would you say you would look for in the future?
I think I'll seriously look. You never know. You can meet your love of your life tomorrow. So I'm telling myself now I'm gonna wait till I'm out of the industry fully to like really pursue something serious. But you never know. Could meet my new wife on a porn set next week. I don't know.
Do you plan to get out of the industry soon?
I think I'll be out within the next couple of years. Yeah, so I'm coming up on 10 years. I've just reached the pinnacle of where I wanted to go in the industry. Like I've been in all the big movies. I've shot for all the companies. I've won awards. I've shot with all the top porn stars in the world. Like I've gotten to where I want to go. So now it's like I have my business ventures and things that I produce. Like there's more out there in the world. So like I like to dive into my other endeavors and really I love using my brain. Like I'm a planner, I'm a strategist. So if I'm on a porn set, I'm just fucking like, it's all body.
True. Yeah. You mentioned you like marketing too, right?
Yeah.
So when did the first businesses start to come to you and how did that happen?
So after my app, the first business I started was a company called Brand My Snaps. Okay. And this was a company, we made custom Snapchat filters. So like geolocation snap filters. Okay. We would do filters for some of the top artists in the world, like DJ Khaled, Wiz Khalifa, P. Diddy, pro athletes, Steve Aoki, the Dalai Lama, did a filter for the Dalai Lama at a UC San Diego's graduation. So that was a really cool venture because I was doing really well with that. I had a lot of big accounts. I was meeting celebrities. I was meeting pro athletes. I was doing filters for all the porn stars during conventions. So I was like meeting a lot of people in different industries. And that was kind of my foot in the door with a lot of these other business ventures. Got to meet other people doing business and entrepreneurs. So I was able to kind of, scratch that itch again and get back into things.
And with these business ventures, you're just going in kind of like a strategic partner. What are you doing? Are you a majority? Like what are you trying to do?
Yeah. So right now, this is my main thing, PS condoms. So PS condoms are a vegan condom, 40% thinner than Trojan, Durex, and Lifestyles that we call your grandfather's condoms. Because all three of those brands have been around for over 100 years. So they're so old. And even when I started the venture, my co-founders came to me. They're like, "We want to start a condom brand." I'm like, I looked at them like, "Bro, I don't even use condoms." Like I'm not like best spokesperson, best like I dislike them. True. And they're like, "Oh, let's give it a shot." They kind of gave me the business model of Dollar Shave Club. Okay. Like the delivery, kind of direct to consumer business model. Yeah. And Dollar Shave Club was running for like 4 or 5 years. They sold for $1 billion. Yeah. So that B word, I was like, damn, very similar business model, kind of similar market. Like I was like, we actually have an opportunity because there hasn't been a condom brand to really interrupt the space. It was just prime for that interruption, a new clean brand to come in. True. So they sold me on that, and I was like, all right, let's do it. And we launched in 2019, right before the pandemic. We were actually surprised because everyone was locked in, not doing things, so we thought sales were going to go down. Sales actually increased because that's all people could do was stay home.
People were just piping.
People were just having sex. So
True.
actually sales actually skyrocketed during the pandemic, surprising to us.
True.
In the past few months, or over the past year, one of the top selling brands on Amazon. And last quarter, we were picked up in Target. So now we're in Target across the U.S.
Oh. And in terms of marketing the brand, how do you guys go about doing that? Because again, it's kind of an interesting area, right? It's not like Dollar Shave Club.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's more sex. So we got to be smarter because certain ads. I remember in the very beginning, we were having trouble getting ads published on Instagram and Facebook because it was adult related. So we had to figure out and be creative to really, how can we portray this so it's not in a sexual way, it's in more an educative way, more like funny comedy. One of my co-founders, Alan, he's a fucking wizard. He designed all of our packaging. He runs our Instagram, all of our socials, built our website. This man's a fucking wizard. Like, if we didn't have him, we'd be in the hole, at least over the past 4 years, $1 million just in creative designs and all this stuff. Like, this guy, you have an idea, he'll spit it out. So having that's what I do a lot of talks about business, having a well-rounded team, people that, are good at what they do. Even though we're all really different, we're all really good at what we do. So we have a really strong team. Two of my other co-founders went to Wharton, this really top-notch business school at UPenn. Worked for Goldman Sachs. One of them exited a company for $40 million. So we had a really successful team before we came in. True. And the four of us together really were able to create an entity that's doing well.
And what's your role with this?
So I'm marketing, events, ideas. I'm the idea man. So a lot of our campaigns. So I'm mostly like the marketing business side of things.
Plugging in your network.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, what better people to promote condoms than porn stars?
Are you the only porn star involved in that?
No, one of our investors is Brandy Love.
Oh, sick.
Yeah.
Dope.
So me and Brandy were just at a convention and conference in Miami a few months ago. Andy Pompliano put it on. And we did a panel called Reinvention.
Okay.
So on the panel was me, Brandy Love, Lisa Ann, and Eva Lovia. And we talked about reinvention on how we've reinvented ourselves from porn stars into business owners and entrepreneurs.
Yes.
So we have all really cool business stories, and it's unique. And I've been seeing this over the years as a lot of adult stars, we are our own business, and a lot of us have created business outside of the adult industry. The adult industry is just kind of a stepping stone. It's a way for us to grow our brands and our presence. So
did you notice that in the last 10 years that a lot of the times you're communicating with these porn stars, they're saying, hey, I'd be down to do a business like this, or I'd be down to do it.
Yeah. And vice versa. Like I've come across so many ideas just on my own, and like people I'm talking to, there's a lot of bright minds. Yeah. We're not just fucking on camera. Like there's a lot of smart people in our industry. I mean, a lot of the top ones that you see, like they've created very successful personal brands, and from that, they're millions of followers. They can do that extension and come out with like merchandise or whatever they want to do.
But I want to know, like, because even when we spoke the other day, like you have a crazy network.
Yeah.
Even outside of porn. So I'm like, I want to understand how you build that network while you're doing your thing, because like the names you're throwing at me are crazy. Like I'm not gonna drop them now, but you threw some really super fucking crazy names.
Well, the Trojan horse for me was porn, because it's a very unique job. So it's like if I'm at a party in Hollywood and like I've had super celebrities come up to me and they're like, I'm a fan. I'm like, bro, what? You're my fan?
Yeah.
And it's just like they have so many questions about it. Because it's an industry that's not really publicly spoken about. It's kind of secretive, It's like that mystified, like, what is it really like? So if you're not in the circle, you're not really going to know what it is. Like there's documentaries that have come out, but they're not the best representations of the industry. So it's like, it's a very mysterious industry. It's very like, everyone's intrigued about sex.
True.
So like I've had, these A-listers like really like asking me deep questions. Like they want to know every aspect of it.
Yeah.
And another thing was like, being friends with all these porn stars. Well, if I'm going to an event, I'm bringing like 4 or 5 big name porn stars with me. So like all these people are celebrities or whoever is like, they're like, oh my, who's this guy? Who are all these girls?
Yeah.
So kind of like the Hugh Hefner method, kind of getting in with that. And so the girls, they were a lot of the reason why I was able to kind of get in the door. But yeah, it's been a very unique thing. And like, even with the athletes, I'm friends with so many pro athletes.
You mentioned some crazy names.
Yeah, because they understand me because I'm at the top of my game. Like I'm a pro athlete of sex, so they understand that. So they look at me as another athlete. So it's
you use your socials as well. Like you've been going hard on Instagram too, building your socials. So when did that start?
So I actually was Damon Dice on all socials. I had a life or death situation, 2018.
Okay.
I was in Vegas during the mass shooting.
Oh fuck!
What?
Were you?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
So that was a pretty traumatic experience for me. At that time, I had more or less an ego death. I learned some things and kind of, I realized like who I was becoming as Damon Dice. Like that was an ego. That was something I was creating for myself. So I actually had to check myself. I was like, fuck, like you're losing Spencer. You're losing who you are. I was becoming this porn star.
What was this, 3-4 years ago?
This is 2018.
Yeah.
So like 5 years ago. So I quit porn for about 6 months. I was doing charity stuff, working for these charity organizations. I was actually working with Nipsey Hussle, started a tech incubator in downtown LA for underprivileged students and kids in the community. So I was mentoring, up and coming entrepreneurs, high school kids, college kids that wanted to start business.
Okay.
So Nipsey put that together, which was really cool. And was working with his kids, and I was just doing things to give back because like I felt like at that time that porn was selfish of me. It wasn't doing anything for anyone else. So I just kind of felt guilty, like, because I'm a giver. I would like want to do things that will, help the world and help society, because I know we're in a fuck place right now. So I want to be able to figure out that way to give back. And porn was selfish for me.
Well, you mentioned ego death, right? And like I think a big thing that usually gets connected with ego death is shrooms. And I know you mentioned you're kind of a spiritual guy. Like, have you ever indulged in shrooms at all?
Yeah, love shrooms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we're talking like microdosing or like big?
Oh, full ass tripping balls. Yeah.
Oh hell yeah!
What was your first experience like?
First experience.
Did you do a hero dose?
I'm trying to remember the first time I ate shrooms. I think it was. I was in college. I was in college. I was at Pretty Lights.
No.
It's like this like EDM band, but I went to this concert. It was just like all the lights and shit. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
It was great. I'll microdose all the time. I like to microdose and go meditate. Like that's my favorite thing. Like especially during a sunrise or sunset.
Yeah.
Outdoor stuff. I like my peace, my woosah. Okay. And even like me being able to meditate and really control my mind and my breath, it's really helped me out a lot on the porn side too. Because if I'm like starting to get gassed, I kind of take a deep breath and like refocus.
Yeah. True.
So my training with that has really helped me out and kind of got me to a place.
You mentioned you stopped for 6 months. What made you get back though?
Why did I get back? Well, the money.
I'm just trying to fuck.
Couldn't do charity forever.
I wasn't making much money doing charity. Like I was, it was cool. Like I was helping people out, but I was getting to a point where I was like, all right, well, I'm running through the reserves. I'm running out of money. So I ended up getting back into it. I even once I went back, like publicly on my socials, I'm Spencer, because I was Damon Dice on everything. Like I just became.
So you started fresh.
So I started fresh as Spencer, and I just kept, because I realized I'm friends with all these porn stars. If I go out in public with them, like everyone's stopping them, everyone's asking questions. They're that person the rest of their life.
True.
And a lot of these girls, all these performers, they're not doing it the rest of their life. So it's like they retire at 30. Well, you're that porn star the rest of your life, and people will recognize you as that. So I checked myself. I'm like, shit. Like if I keep doing this and get like really, really big, like I'm gonna be that guy forever. Yeah. So I was like, I'm not going to be performing forever, so I don't want to be that character that I'm portraying on set my whole life.
You have to rebrand.
So I made that conscious decision. I'm like, I'm just going to go by me publicly, and I'm one of the very, very few that does that. But it's worked out for me because I have so many other ventures outside of porn, and I don't want like the porn thing to tarnish it. If you go on Twitter, that's where all the freaky shit's at. And OnlyFans, but on Instagram, that's I keep it PG.
I actually want to ask you about OnlyFans and the way the business has gone in that sense. Like, I just want to know your overall thoughts on it, because I know it completely changed everything.
Yeah, OnlyFans was a lifesaver, honestly.
Okay. A
lot of people during the pandemic, you guys know, lost their jobs, were out of work. A lot of people were like struggling, didn't know what they were going to do. So I don't know the exact statistic, but there was millions of people over the past 3 years or past few years that there was COVID, they were locked in, that started OnlyFans. Mm-hmm. So this is like keeping people alive. This is putting food on the table, it's putting the roof over the head. So it really saved some people. People in my industry, we really thrived because we were already on OnlyFans before the pandemic hit, before OnlyFans became like world known or publicly known.
Oh, it was already like a thing amongst porn.
Yeah, I started in 2015.
Damn. Holy
yeah,
fuck,
so we were already on it. So that's like once it boomed, like we're established. So we're already there. Yeah. So we had an advantage because we'd already been on it for a while. We already knew what was up. But yeah, no, like OnlyFans was it saved a lot of people, and they almost tried kicking adult stars off the platform a couple of years ago.
Why, it's not fair or some shit? Cheat codes?
It was the content.
It's a money thing because they were trying to get acquired for over $1 billion, and like no one would touch it because it's adult industry related. Like no one wanted to touch that shit. It's just I'm not saying not a safe investment, but it is what it is.
And then what? Like 2 weeks later, they're like, "Oh, my bad."
Yeah, so like they're like, "Oh, we're gonna kick adult stars off OnlyFans." Blah blah. Like adult content's 99% of their revenue. Like you're really gonna just fucking destroy your company. You're gonna destroy your company, and like okay, like that's fucking stupid. It's like I even got interviewed by Business Insider. And they were asking me about it, like, what are your thoughts? I'm like, OnlyFans is fucking stupid if they're gonna try to kick us off. And I was publicly calling them out. Like, you're taking away a lot of jobs, like you're taking away your business. Like, why would you do that? So they ended up reinstating or didn't kick us off, and we're still there. So
But even in terms of like, let's say the bigger, more mainstream guys, like how have they taken to it? Like, are they cool with like the porn stars also doing their thing? Or are they trying to push them away from doing OnlyFans? Like
what do you mean mainstream? Oh, like the companies?
Yeah, let's say like a fucking
at the end of the day, the more eyes, it's bringing more eyes to the industry.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah, so it's like, it's a competing entity, but it's still bringing more people into as a porn consumer. Yeah. So it helps everyone out.
You were making more on what, porn or OnlyFans?
I'd say more on porn. I do OnlyFans, but it's not like my main focus.
Yeah.
Like that's just another.
Why don't you go harder in OnlyFans?
I shoot a lot.
Yes.
Yeah, no, like, and I already have like years of behind the scenes and content. So it's like, if I really wanted to push it, I would. But I think I'm gonna wait till I'm out to really like just blast on that end. It's not really a focus of mine right now. Like I'm good with what I'm doing. So.
I feel like if you're a guy like and you're doing gay shit, it's probably better on OnlyFans.
Yeah.
Than like a straight dude, right?
Yeah, the gay dudes do really well on the site. So I joke about it. I wish I was a little bit gay. I'd fucking milk it.
Just a little bit gay.
Just a little bit. I'd milk that side because gay men have the highest disposable income. They don't have wives. They don't have kids. They got fucking money for days. So
Wanna be a real entrepreneur?
Yeah. Where the sugar daddy's at?
What does like a male porn star make at the highest level compared to a female?
There's some guys.
Like what's Johnny Sins pulling in? Let's get straight to the fucking.
Yeah, what's Johnny doing?
He's making bank. He's making at least 6 figures a month on OnlyFans.
On OnlyFans,
he just does OnlyFans.
He goes crazy on OnlyFans.
Yeah, he does. It's his full-time job, so he's crushing it. But he's the goat. Like he's been doing it forever. Like
and all the girls want to work with him.
Johnny
right?
fucking Sins. Like,
hell yeah, okay.
So yeah, no, there's like some of the top level guys are doing well, but it's mostly the girls that are crushing it on there.
How does this all affect your mental health?
Good question. It's tough. It's taxing. It's a lot of wear and tear on the body. And again, like when we're on set, I'm tuned out. So it's like once I'm done shooting, I kind of got to recalibrate and come back. You know.
True.
So it can be exhausting. Again, like being the athletes, you know, they're on the road hundreds of days a month. They're competing. I get injuries. I got a little rug burn here.
Got an injury?
On-set injury.
So yeah, it's
sports-related injury.
Yeah, so it's tough. And then like once I'm off set, I got to come back to Spencer. I'm not Damon anymore. Yeah. So it makes it tough. It's definitely a learning curve. But now I'm like, again, the meditation that really helps my mental health and kind of getting back to me.
Did you ever feel like any sort of depression or anything like that throughout your career?
I'd say the like depression from it would stem from like failed relationships from porn. So I'd say like me and my sad points were because like a relationship didn't work out because of porn. True. So I'd say that was the toughest part.
And do you think a family is something in the future for you? Like, do you think you could have a family?
Yeah, I think so. I just hope I don't have a daughter.
What if you have a daughter though?
We'll see. When
better question. What if you have a daughter and she wants to get in the industry?
Bro, I'm not.
How about just OnlyFans though?
I mean, just OnlyFans. Bro.
How about just OnlyFans?
That's a slippery slope, my friend.
Bikinis, that's it.
That's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, you can't really say no.
I can't speak into the future. But yeah, we'll see. I was actually crazy story. I was after shoot yesterday. I went to get dinner in Calabasas, and me and my buddy were sitting there, and this little kid comes walking over the table, and I was thinking, is this the busboy? Like, why is he walking over here? He didn't look like a server, and he looks over at me. He's like, you're my favorite actor. I'm like, what?
How old was this kid, you think?
Like 12 years old, probably.
Oh my God.
He has nowhere near hitting puberty. Like he was probably middle school. Definitely middle school. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, I love your movies. I'm like, my friend just looks over and is like, what the fuck? He's like, can I take a picture with you? I'm like, what do I do here? Like, I was like, fuck, I stood up, took a picture.
Yeah.
I was just like, what the fuck just like this is
A
weird.
12-year-old dude.
Like I mean, good for him. Like he's gonna fucking go show his friends and like I was just like, damn, like that was a interesting. I've been recognized many times, but that was like a first. I was like, what the fuck?
But like it's interesting you say that because there's a lot of people that are against porn right now.
Yeah,
they think it's bad for. You know,
I don't disagree. I don't disagree. I think porn, like anything, if you do too much of it, it's bad for you. Porn is very addictive, especially it's a dopamine sensitive activity. Every time you're chasing that dopamine, like whether you're doing drugs or gambling or watching porn, like so. If you're gonna do it responsibly.
What's responsible, you think? I'm just asking for a friend.
If your fucking dick starts hurting, you probably do it a little too much.
Relax. Your dick falls off.
Or if your wife or your girlfriend aren't happy with it, then that's an issue too. So just everyone's different with their situation, but you just got to be careful.
Yeah. Do you think it's something that should be like? We should be educated on it from like a young age, because it's like you said, 12-year-old coming up and be like, bro, I want a picture with you. You're my favorite actor. Like that's. I mean,
crazy. I was bringing Playboys into elementary school and like showing them to my friends. So like I was 8 years old and first time I got suspended in 3rd grade. I brought a Playboy to school and we were like during story time. I was like in the back like oh, titties.
Okay, that's a different time because now it's way easier to access.
It is. It's tricky, man. That's why I say like fuck. I don't know if I want to have kids because of access to information and all that's out there. It's like fuck like. I'm seeing fucking babies, not even a year old, on tablets. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Fuck.
So it's tough. Like everything is accessible. I know most apps and platforms have like age restrictions. So as a parent, obviously, like restrict your shit. Monitor what your kids are watching on the internet. But with the talk, I mean, shit, you got to eventually have that talk with your kids. Because they're not learning it in school, in class. Like some of the shit they're trying to teach our kids in schools is fucked up. I don't agree with.
True.
So it's not the place for the school to talk about that stuff. It's on the parents. But then again, there's some homes that don't, they don't have a dad. So that's a lot of the issue too. So it's more of a societal thing. I think it's an issue. But sex should be talked about openly and freely.
And I'm curious, is drugs a big thing in the industry? Like
that's a misconception.
Okay.
Everything's so regulated and restricted. Even every time I step on a set, we have to do a sign in with our IDs. Like they ask you, age, name, date of birth. First question asks, are you under the influence of drugs or alcohol? So you can't if you have bloodshot eyes, they'll send you home.
Yeah.
So we have to be because if you're doing a sex act, you have to be coherent legally to like sign in to do that.
Yeah.
So it's not prolific. Even you don't want to do a sex scene on drugs. I can imagine tripping balls and trying to do maybe my personal life, but I've heard stories of the 80s and 90s. They were on set just drinking and fucking blowing rail, just going crazy.
Yeah.
So I think then there's just not as, there's camera phones now. There's liability.
True.
So it's
And have you ever not been able to get the job done? Because you're a fucking stud, dude.
There was one time. It was a few years back. I just got done shooting 26 days in a row. Ooh. I think I maybe had 1 or 2 days off in that span traveling, and I was in between L.A., Vegas, Miami for a week, back to Vegas, L.A., Phoenix, and I was like, all right, I'm fucking done. My dick was raw. I was done. And then I finally got back home. I get a call from director hey, this guy didn't show up today. We really need you. You're gonna save the production. And it was 2 hot milfs. I'm fuck. I was I'm fucking exhausted, but these girls are hot. I'm down. Show up to set. We're doing the pictures, and they're touching my dick. I couldn't even feel it.
There's nothing. There's nothing happening.
It was not there. I was this isn't working. I even sat in a room for dark room. It was trying to chill, just hang out.
Get it back, re-energize.
It was done. It was shot. Yeah. So I came out. I was I can't do it.
Yeah, 26 days.
What was your favorite scene?
Ooh, favorite scene. That's a tough question.
Okay, favorite porn star to work with.
Currently there's a girl named Cece Rose. She's a bomb.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shout her out.
Yeah, Cece Rose. She's
big
fire.
shout out, eh?
Yeah. The OGs I enjoyed working with were Alexis Texas, one of my favorites. Riley Reed, Bella Danger, Asa Akira, Rachel Starr. Oh, fuck. When I shot Rachel Starr, that was my I made it moment.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And that was probably 5 years in my career. Yeah. Once I bagged Rachel Starr, I was I made it. That's it. That was the top on my list.
Yeah.
So that was great.
Do you have any like any goals that you want to hit in terms of business in the next, let's say 10, 20
I want
years?
to exit this company in the next couple of years.
How much you guys going for?
What's the goal?
Between 50 to 100 million.
Nice. Yeah, you got that.
Yeah, so that's once we exit that, I'm financially set for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really interested right now in a lot of the things I'm doing is production and podcasts. So there's a handful of podcasts I co-produce or help out with. Pillow Talk's one of the big ones. You guys know Ryan.
Yeah.
So I produce a few of his episodes. Basically, any adult star industry podcast, 75% of them I'm involved some way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm. They're all starting podcasts now.
Yeah, they are.
Porn star.
Yeah. So I've been producing podcasts for 5 years now.
Yeah.
The first one I produced was back at AVN, like 2018.
Yeah.
So I know the space, and being in porn for so long, I learned production, I learned cameras, I learned sound, audio, lighting. So this is all just like second nature because I've been around it for so long.
True.
So it's something I'm interested in. I like it because I know how fucked and censored the mainstream media is. And I'm an anarchist when it comes to the mainstream and all the fucking shit they're spewing to us. And
same, bro.
That's a whole nother fucking talk.
Of course.
But I see podcasts, especially like Joe Rogan being the pioneer of that, really giving people a voice without getting censored. Because I fully agree and believe in the First Amendment and the freedom of speech. And that's very being squandered right now worldwide, especially in your country.
Shout out Canada.
Hey, Canada.
Shout out China.
This country, yeah.
Yeah, so like I see the podcast as a way for people to really speak their minds and not get censored because we're not on these big networks. Like you don't need to be, you might get censored on Instagram and Twitter or YouTube and demonetized, but podcasts still have that reach and they're not being censored like all the other entities.
You think you start your own?
We'll see.
Yeah.
I know how much of a full-time job it is and like a lot of work, so I don't have the time for it now.
Okay.
But maybe down the road.
A lot of Red Bull, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
Coffee.
I would probably do like a health and wellness, like something like. No, seriously, yeah.
Do shrooms and get in front of the cam.
We'll see.
Yeah,
it wouldn't be a porn one. I don't know.
Is it a business one? I mean, you have like all the connects to get the guests.
It would
as well.
it would be a rounded one, different industries. It wouldn't be centered to any specific thing. Just good conversations, good questions.
True.
Really getting to know the
Well,
guests.
you're well spoken, so I think you could really talk about anything as long as you did your research on it.
Are people surprised when they meet you and you're well spoken and
Yeah, they think
you're
like
something
I was
else?
saying earlier, like they think porn stars are like fucking apes and we just fuck. So like people are
part time.
Yeah, no. So when I meet people, I'm not leading off with like, oh, I'm a porn star. Like I talk about other stuff, and then they'll find like, wait, you're a porn star? Like I would have had no idea. So it's like I don't give that impression. I don't think so.
is there like a typical reaction that you get when you say you're a porn star?
It's like there's so many questions that come with that.
Okay.
So even like if I'm in Uber, I'm in a situation where I don't want to talk about it. Someone's like, oh, what do you do? So my go-to is I tell them I'm a plumber.
Nice.
Because it's like I'm not really lying. So I don't like to lie.
I've been one before.
I don't like to lie. So it's like I'm a plumber.
Yeah.
You know, and they're not gonna. What, you clean shit? Like they're not gonna ask you any more questions. So it's like they ask you that and it's done. The conversation's done. So that's my like deflection answer right there.
No, I have to say we shied away from doing porn stars earlier on, like in the pod, but now that we've kind of started to do them a little more, I'm like,
because now you see
are,
like, you know,
well, I'm like, these are some of the best combos we've ever had.
You guys had Kazumi, like she's
building a full brand.
I've been in the industry for 10 years. I've never seen someone so smart,
genius,
and tenacious with their marketing and how they've built a brand. She's built it. I'm not gonna say overnight, but it took her from
but even the way she built it,
zero to hero in a year. Like she's one of the biggest names in the world, and she did that in 1 year.
No, the combo was crazy, and then even after we sat with her for like another 2 hours just talking business, and I'm like,
yeah,
I was just
with her earlier today. So like she's like we're like that's why I like sitting with her. We'll talk business. You know, we're not even talking about sex or porn. Like we're talking business because like I love bouncing ideas off her and vice versa. And there's some projects we're gonna be working on in the future. She's a fucking genius.
Yeah.
Like she needs like new girls in the industry. Watch what she's doing. You'll learn a lot of shit. 100%. Like she's a genius.
Do you think it's easier for guys to walk away from the industry than women and like be okay?
I would say so because us guys, we're not as much. We don't get the negative stigma. Like we're like, oh, you're a pimp. Like you're banging hot chicks.
Yeah.
But the girls, like they get the negative connotation of like, oh, you're a slut, you're a whore, you suck dick for money, blah blah blah. So it's tougher for women. Like I give props to my peers and the women in the industry because like I don't go through what they go through, but I see it, and it's like it hurts me to see what they go through because like you know you have such a big following, you have like tens of thousands, million fans. Like you're gonna have some assholes that are gonna try to ruin your day, talk shit, call you fat. just say whatever. So it's like they're always getting attacked. I don't know last time I had someone say something negative, try to get under my skin. It's like being a guy, it's just not as prevalent out there. There's just a bunch of assholes that will say mean shit to women, so it's...
Has there been any guys that you've seen get out of the industry and then succeed at business? You're going to be the first one.
No, I'm not going to say I'm the first one. There's one guy that comes to mind. He's a big porn star, and he like started a big management company.
Okay.
So like he got into real estate, so he did a lot of stuff on that end. For the most part, I'd say the guys that get out either like start families, so they retire and they get married, have kids. But I haven't seen anyone really do business. A lot of them will like retire and produce porn. Like that's good business for them, but not like outside of porn.
True.
I'm not seeing too much overlay or crossover from.
And
that.
you would want to like if you do it, you'd want to completely stop porn.
I think that's the goal.
Like
yeah.
Not even produce it, not even do anything.
Yeah, I don't know. I never want to try to predict the future, but I don't know. We'll see. I'm not gonna say no, but I'm leaning towards doing other things because again, I've reached the pinnacle. Like I don't have anything else to prove.
True.
So I don't know. Maybe we'll see.
We'll find out.
Oh
yeah.
Give him the question.
All right, man. First of all, thank you so much. Appreciate you coming on and do this.
We need a hat. We need the hats after.
Yeah, I definitely
need another time.
100%.
I need to rock that shit.
Shout out Browsers. Thank you. My sponsor.
It's a good. I like talking and seeing the other side of it. Like I said, we've had female porn stars, but no men. So it's cool to see the other perspective of it. So I appreciate you doing this. But listen, Spence, we're the MBH podcast, Money Buys Happiness. Mm-hmm. So I want to know if you believe money buys happiness.
Okay. I don't think money buys happiness.
Okay.
Talk to me. I think having a good attitude buys you happiness. Having good friends that care about you, having family that loves you, having excitement about life, being thankful for the things you have in life. I think those are things that really bring you happiness.
But do you think when you get that $50, $100 million exit, you're going to be happy?
Like, come on, you know what I'm talking about?
That's nice.
Yeah.
But can you walk into the store and buy happiness though? Can you actually purchase happiness? Can you buy it?
You can buy
things that can make you happy. Yeah. I've bought plenty of things that make me happy, for sure. It helps.
So let's say you get a $50 million check. What are you doing with it?
Oh, I'm disappearing. I'm going somewhere.
You're out?
Yeah,
where are you going though?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe Maldives, somewhere off the grid.
Yeah.
I think you'd still want to do shit though.
I don't know.
You have like this drive about you where I think you wouldn't want to stop.
I'm one of those people like I'd go away for like a little bit and I'd just get antsy, fucking sitting on the beach.
That's what I'm saying.
Sip my ties like fuck. I gotta
just make another app.
Yeah, Batman's coming back.
Where can people find out more about the condoms?
You can check us out on Instagram at psgoodtimes and psgoodtimes.com. Go to your local Target. We're there. Buy them from our website. But yeah, come check us out.
Boom.
Oh, yo, Spence, appreciate you, bro. Good chat, brother.
Yeah, man.
Love you, bud.
Dean,